Cade Cunningham, first overall pick in the NBA draft by the Detroit Pistons. He's averaging 10.8 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, 2.8 assists per game, and averaging 2.3 turnovers, shooting 23% from the field, and he's only made 4 threes out of 28 so far this season. Are you worried about Cade Cunningham and his shooting struggles? He is not the only guy in Detroit that people are worried about or might be worried about. I mean, another guy, Killian Hayes. Everybody's worried about him, but
he can go.
Cade Cunningham, what's up with him? Do you think he'll figure it out? Is this just the start of the season? Do you think this is a big deal?
No, I don't think this is a big deal. This is the number 1 overall pick. This is the guy that I picked to be Rookie of the Year. What is he shooting right now from the field? 21%?
23.2.
That's not going to last. I mean, game by game, like these last 2 games, he's gotten better. Even against Brooklyn last night, it was a little bit inefficient, but he gave you 17 points. It's pretty efficient from the 3. I think he was 3 for 5 from the 3.
Yeah, 3 of 7.
I mean, I just look at his game in college. He was a really well-rounded scorer. He's a good all-around player, and he's much better than averaging 10 points and 2 assists a game. I don't think that this 23% field goal percentage is going to keep up. I think as he gets more experience, as he plays more games down the road, he'll be more comfortable with the NBA game. And as far as the 3-point percentage, I mean, he was a pretty good 3-point percentage shooter in college. If you look at the form on his jump shot, he has an exceptional jump shot shooting form, really nice form. I think that part of the game is going to obviously increase his percentage as time goes on. So no, I'm not worried about Cade Cunningham's struggles. I mean, I saw him yesterday. He was not going toe to toe, but he was fearless on the court. He was going at James Harden, a couple plays where he went at Kevin Durant, hit a couple clutch threes last night, made the game pretty close in the fourth quarter with his 2 3-pointers. So no, I think that this is just rust. I think that injury, he's starting to he has to get used to the NBA game. It's much faster. There's much more expected out of him. Jeremy Grant's struggles really hasn't helped him out as well, because Jeremy Grant was supposed to be that guy who's your number 1 scorer. I mean, he's taken a tremendous drop off statistically this year. So no, I think with the more games that he plays, Cade Cunningham will be good. I mean, I saw a couple plays yesterday. He went to the basket, looked good. Jump shot looked good. Transition passing looked good. Rebound is good. Solid defense. I think the kid's going to be fine. I just think you got to give it a couple more games, and I think he'll have that one breakout game, and we'll all look back at this and be like, whoa, like we were kind of overreacting off this. So I think that the kid's going to be fine.
I'll tell you what hurts. We were waiting on the debut of Cade Cunningham. Obviously, he was the last rookie. Well, the number 1 rookie in the draft, number 1 select overall, and then he's the last rookie to make his debut. We're all anticipating it. We were all excited for it. And then he goes 1 of 8 against Orlando. It's just not what you were expecting to see by any stretch of the means. But ultimately, I'm not too stressed about it. I think he's Cade Cunningham. I think that he has all the intangibles to be successful. And you still look at the games that he's still struggled in. He's still making an impact on the court, whether it be defense, whether it be passing, whether it be rebounding. Cade Cunningham's the type of player that he doesn't have to have his shot falling to still have an impact on the game. And that's what makes him so special, and that's what allows me to still have confidence in him going in the future. Against the Nets, this was, to a degree, his breakout game. You look at 6 for 17. Obviously, that's not the best, but still 17 points, a steal, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, clutch shooting in the come down the stretch of the game against a solid Nets team. Nevertheless, he was playing defense against Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant obviously is Kevin Durant. He's cooking them, but the fact that he's willing to take that challenge this early in his career shows to me that he's fearless. I mean, my biggest issue with people that are struggling are when you're struggling, you are hesitant and you shy away from taking the shots that you normally would take. I would rather a player go 2 of 14 like he did against Milwaukee than a player go 0 for 4 because he just didn't feel it in those 4 shots. Because at least you're showing me that, you know what, I may be down, but you're not going to stop me. I may be not the normal self that I'm accustomed to, but I'm going to hit eventually. It just takes a certain type of confidence in a player to really put you in that type of headspace. The Kobe Bryants, the Allen Iversons, the LeBron James, the Kevin Durants. Cade Cunningham has that type of potential. I'm not saying that he's going to be Kevin Durant, LeBron James, but he has that superstar type ability, those intangibles to be great. 6'8", 200 pounds, the ability to facilitate an offense, to rebound, to score, to shoot. He can do it all. It's inevitable until he gets it going. It's early in his career. I'm not stressed about it at all. And just the fact that he has already shown me up until this point that he can impact the game on top of still not being overly concerned about a stat line is great to me.
Cade Cunningham is going to be fine. I'm not too worried about this. He had 18 and 10 against Philly. Granted, 9 of those points were at the free throw line. 17, 4, and 2 against Brooklyn. From the field, he wasn't good, but from the three, he was good. He was efficient. These are the things Cade Cunningham has done well so far. Defensively, he's been really good defensively.
He has been.
And that's why, even though he's not scoring, he makes an impact on the court because he's a really good defender. And he's getting shots off. It would bother me if he was forcing up shots, if he was shot chucking. We know he has the ultimate green light. But Cade is getting to his spots.
He's getting good shots.
He's getting good shots. He's getting to his spots. He's just not making them. He's not finishing at this moment. What he's not doing so well, I think his floaters have been off. His floaters haven't been good at all. His passes are off. And I said this before the draft because Riv and I talked about Mobley versus Cade. I talked about it. I thought Evan Mobley coming out of the draft was a better passer than Cade. I don't see Cade as a great playmaker. He can playmake to an extent, but he's not a Luka level playmaker. He's not, or like what Luka was coming out of, Europe. He wasn't that. He's not a Josh Giddey level playmaker. Like Cade Cunningham is not a phenomenal playmaker. He's a good playmaker, but you could tell from his passes when he gets double teamed. Sometimes he doesn't make the right read. It's a turnover, and you can see it in his assist-to-turnover ratio. He doesn't take very good care of the ball and shooting. His form, like you said, JC, it looks great. His form looks great. Are there some misses occasionally where he hits the side of the backboard or it hits the glass? You're like, "Ooh, that's a terrible miss." Of course, but for the most part, his threes have been in and out. His threes have been in and out. I'm like, damn, bro, that's just a tough miss. It is what it is. Cade's going to figure it out eventually. He's that great. But there are some concerns there. He has to work on some things. He has to work on his floater. He has to work on his passing, his playmaking ability. And teams are already double teaming him, especially off of pick and rolls.
Yeah.
They're leaving the fader usually because when they're trying to get a screen for a big man to go to the 3-point line to spot up, they're usually leaving their big man and they're usually just trapping Cade. I saw that in the Milwaukee Bucks game. They're just doing that. So teams are going to start doubling Cade. Jeremy Grant, we kind of knew that last season was just a fluke season. Like nobody after that season thought Jeremy Grant was a household name. Yeah, he had that type of season, but we know what type of player Jeremy Grant is. Killian Hayes hasn't shown much. He has been okay defensively. He has been pretty good, but we know what Killian Hayes is, at least to this point. They're a team, it's going to be rough this year, but Cade Cunningham, they're just hoping that he plays to the level of his overall selection, which was number 1 overall pick, because that's what they need right now.
Isaiah Stewart, I believe that's his name, correct? He's been pretty good for them.
He's
up
all
until
right.
this
He's
point.
a good player.
Josh Jackson, another guy that I've been pretty.
He's all right.
He's okay.
He is all right, but I at least like to see him making strides
Kelly
in this
Olynyk's
game.
been good.
Kelly Olynyk's another one that
He's
he was
pretty good.
exceptional with the Rockets in his short tenure there. But I feel like his game last night against the Nets was probably his best game of the season. But regardless of that, Kelly Olynyk, he's a firm ball player for him, and at least he has another player that he can sort of rely on to facilitate the basketball. Get you.
I'm gonna be honest. If I'm a star player and I'm
Kelly
playing for a team,
listen, I'm with you.
and you tell me Kelly Olynyk's a guy I can rely on,
I'm with you.
I'm leaving.
Yeah, I'd be pretty upset about it too. But at the same time, at least it's better than nothing because that's really other than him.
That's really what Jeremy
screwed.
Grant's giving you. He's not really giving you much, Jeremy Grant.
You understand what I'm saying?
0
So
for
I mean,
9?
at the minimum, he could look at Kelly. Kelly Olynyk provides some 5 out of 10 security. It could be a lot worse, but it could be a whole lot better.
So Jeremy Grant this year is averaging 16.6 points per game, shooting 38% from the field and 29% from 3.
And that's all based off opportunity with that 16 points.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy because when I put up the video on TikTok about Jeremy Grant and how
People
he
were
could drop
calling you
off,
crazy?
people were like, "Oh, this guy has never heard of increased roles. He's never heard of roles." Bruh, it's
95% of those guys are Pistons fans.
Jeremy Grant we knew what he was.
Yeah,
But
It was 23
I'll
last
give you
year.
listen, I didn't think that it was going to be this drastic.
Me neither. I thought he would be like 20, 21.
Maybe he picks it up. Who knows? But
Hopefully, I mean.
Maybe
Yeah, I heard-
Cade opens up the court for him a little bit too. But
I
geez,
heard the Pistons right now. They're like the worst shooting team from the field goal
they look
in a while.
They look horrible. They had a great game against the Nets, but outside of that, they've
like
looked
if they
horrible.
keep this up, it's historically bad.
Yeah.
Like that's what I heard. It's historically bad.